World, man. Hello, Brennan.
Hello.
What's,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude. What's going on, man?
Just hanging out.
Hell yeah, dude. We just got done blasting Harbinger of Woe. And I got to tell you, man, that is some fucking seriously brutal, badass shit, man.
Thank you. Really appreciate it, dude. We worked very hard on it. It's a big deal, you know, after 20 years, no albums or anything. I mean, apart from that promo we did in 2021, but that was just to kind of say, hey, we're coming back, you know, but we're really proud of it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. First question I got to ask, am I saying the name right? Brodequin? Is that how you say it?
Close. I mean, as far as like how it's supposed to be said, you can kind of say it however you want. Jamie and Mike say it like Brodequin.
Okay.
Technically, it's like a French word originally, so I think it's probably closer to like Brodica, something like that.
Ah.
But, you know, as American English speakers, we just say Brodequin, so. Yeah.
we got to say it how we fucking read it, man. Well,
yeah.
And that name is actually based off of it's a torture device, am I correct?
Right. Yes.
It
would, they would basically bind people's legs with them and just smash the living shit out of them, basically.
Fuck.
Gnarly.
That's badass, man. And that is it it's a French torture device from ancient.
Yeah. See, I don't know, like Jamie's more of an expert on this stuff, but I'm pretty sure it may not have been like a real practical torture device that was used, like for real. I know that it was written about at least, so may have been used on some, you know, unfortunate souls, but yeah, I don't know if it was actually like real or not, if you know what I mean.
Dude, they had some wild shit back in those days, man.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, we went on a trip to Europe because we have some family in London and in France, as a matter of fact. And
oh, cool.
When we like the main things that I remember as a kid from going on that trip, like the coolest, like everything else about it, I'm like, yeah, I want to be at home with my friends. But like the coolest part about it was going into the dungeons in some of those castles and seeing the fucking torture chambers, because they have a lot of those torture devices on display where you can actually go in there and just see the stuff, you know, and it's wild, man. It's like people really, really got it. Like that was entertainment back in those days, man.
Oh, it still is. I mean, I'd love to go see the catacombs, you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to see all that shit.
Hell yeah, man. Well, so tell us about the band. Like, give us a brief history on the band. Like, how long have you guys been doing this, and how did you guys get started and stuff?
As far as the early days, I really don't know a whole hell of a lot. I know that they started, because they actually started before I was born. They started in 96, and I was born in 97. Yeah, I know when they started out, they were really into, you know, Cannibal Corpse and all, you know, Suffocation and all that. And then I know that they discovered Gorgasm, and they were like some of the first people to know about them, and, you know, had their first demo and all that. So that was a big like inspiration for them to kind of step up the brutality and everything. And I know they had, you know, Chad Walls on drums in the earlier days, and he's incredible, huge inspiration to me and, you know, what I try and do with them now. And so one cool thing, though, is when I was up in Knoxville one of the last times, Jamie actually showed me the house that they used to jam in, that they wrote Festival of Death in. And it was tiny. It was like a little tiny shoebox. And I can't imagine the room they were in. They had, you know, any room to breathe, basically. But they just jammed it out and wrote Festival in there. And then they got John on drums, John Engman from Fetopsy. And he's incredible. And Stanley Fast, you know, blast master. And then they went away for a while. That's kind of why they didn't put anything out for 20-something years, or, you know, 20 years now. Because they had a series of deaths in the family, so they just had to focus on all that, it can kind of get in the way of music. So, and then they came back, I want to say 2015. They played some festivals by popular demand. They came back, and they had John Ingman originally was on like a finger drum pad, like an electronic drum pad. And I thought that was really cool, actually, like him being able to play all those insanely fast blast beats and everything just on his electric pad with his fingers. I thought that was really cool. But apparently some people didn't like it, and he was getting some real harsh feedback from some people. And he just was like, yeah, you guys need to get a real drummer behind the kit. You know what I mean? Not a real drummer, but you know what I mean? Like, get someone to play live drums for them. So then they got Jan Lugtenberg, I think, from Contorted Mind at the time. They were a band on New Standard Elite. And he was with them, I want to say, from like 2017 till 2020 when they approached me. And they actually picked me, believe it or not, like specifically because I had a couple Brodequin covers on YouTube. So I had Flow of Maggots from Festival of Death, and then I had Spinning in Agony, the first song from Instruments of Torture, on YouTube. And I remember meeting Mike and Jamie at Las Vegas Death Fest. Well, I met Jamie the previous year, Las Vegas Death Fest 2018, but then my band Reviled played Las Vegas Death Fest 2019, and that's where I met Mike, his brother, the guitar player. And they had signed my band Reviled to their label Unmatched Brutality. And Mike was saying like the Flow of Maggots video was like the closest that he'd ever seen anyone play that song to Chad besides Chad. So I was very honored to hear that, and by fate, I guess I wound up in the band,
Wow.
Here we are.
That is cool as hell. So it's like, it's another YouTube story, basically, man. Like,
yeah, essentially. Yeah, you hear a lot of those now, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it's like almost like a pre-audition. Like, hey, if you want to prove your worth, do a really solid cover of, one or two songs or more songs if you want for a band. And then if they ever go looking, guess what? They're going to go to YouTube and look for covers. So,
yeah, dude. I just saw earlier today that Merciful Fate announced that they picked Becky Baldwin to be their official bass player, and she's going to be on the next record. And,
very cool.
I saw her play with them live last year on their tour, and I believe that's how they found her, was through YouTube. Like, she was just jamming their songs, and they picked her to play in the band. So,
yeah,
that's really cool though to hear like these kind of stories like that, because I think that's a medium that really needs to be, it's being taken seriously, man.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like I've seen some people dogging on like vocal covers in particular, but no one really seems to bat an eye about like guitar and drum covers. So I think that's a little unfair. But I've also seen people that did vocal covers of songs like do that exact same thing and wind up in the band that they're covering, years later. So. I think if you really, really love a band and you take inspiration from them, there's no harm in doing a cover, especially because it gets you it builds your chops, because you got to do it. All my drum covers I've done are like one take, so it kind of gets your recording chops up for one thing, and then gets you to where you're having to kind of almost pretend like you're filling shoes there, filling someone's shoes, having to play the song perfectly. And then, so it's good practice for later on if you actually do get the gig, because then you have the song down already,
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, that speaks loudly to all the youngsters out there, man, that are getting on there and doing that, because I mean, hey,
yeah, definitely,
it's worth it. Well, tell us about your history, man. Like, how did you get started playing the drums, and like, what were some of your influences when you were growing up?
Yeah, so actually with with drums, it's kind of interesting because I didn't even start out with drums first. I started with guitar when I was 9, except I didn't like fully pick it up at the time because I I don't know, I just wasn't doing anything that I was particularly interested in with my instructor. It was like really, really super basic stuff, you know, like Mel Ray Book 1. So it was like really boring. I wasn't playing rock, you know, I wasn't playing like stuff that I was into at the time or anything. So that didn't click. And then a few years later, I got into Rock Band. Well, I was in the Guitar Hero, and then I got into Rock Band. And Rock Band had drums, as you know. So that was like a catapult into the world of drumming. You know, I just became fascinated with it. And so around, I want to say 12 was when I like really decided I wanted to start playing. And then at 13, I got my first drum lesson, and my instructor at the time was renting a drum kit to me, and he let me keep that kit for a long time, actually, like several years after I even needed it, and we gave it back to him eventually. But yeah, so I started out like I was saying, like with Rock Band and everything, and so that's how I discovered blast beats and stuff too, was because they had a downloadable song pack from the Mayhem '09 tour, which had Black Dahlia Murder, it had Cannibal Corpse, it had Job for Cowboy. There was a bunch of stuff with blast beats on there. So it was like, and everyone in the Rock Band community was like, oh my God, these songs are impossible. So it was like one of those things where you get intrigued by that challenge, you know? And so I really wanted to get to the point where I could play blast beats basically. And so that was a big like a pivotal thing for that. And over the years, I just kept playing, and eventually started jamming with people around like 16 years old. And I got into my first band that I actually gigged live with at 17 years old. And then I joined my first death metal band around that same time as well, like later that same year. And that was Cesspool of Corruption. It's like a melodic tech death band, and did that for several years. And then I started my band Reviled with the vocalist Skylar. And that was like our first, you know, real foray into brutal death metal and like trying to do it ourselves and kind of make a name for ourselves and like meet people in the scene and everything. So I think that a large part of why I'm even in Brodequin is because of Reviled, and like being able to play the absurd, you know, 270 BPM and plus blast beats is largely attributed to Reviled, because we were already trying to push tempos like that and trying to be we were taking a lot of inspiration from bands like Brodequin and Gorgasm and Deeds of Flesh and Disgorge, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of the history in a nutshell, I guess.
Props to you, man, because I know that shit is not fucking easy, man.
Nope.
I'm a guitar player myself, but when I was in high school, I did have a drum set for a short while that somebody just gave to me, and it was just this cheap little beat up fucking thing. But I used to play on it, and then I could do like some basic beats, but I just never could really. I couldn't do any of the stuff that I was listening to, you know, like Cannibal Corpse and shit like that. I wanted to, you know, go fast and be able to do that, but I never could. I don't know. I guess I probably gave up on it too early and just went back to the guitar. But it definitely made me have a much bigger respect for drummers, because that really is. I mean, that's a whole different beast, man.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it's almost like I've heard people say that it's more like a sport than it is drumming. You know, once you get up to those super high speeds, it's like and the same is true for the toll it takes on your body. Like you got to really maintain and take care of yourself and take rest days, you know, like all that stuff. It's like lifting, you know, it's like anything that's like super strenuous physically. You got to look after your body, or else, you know, you won't be able to do it eventually.
Yeah. I can only imagine, man. Like fucking, I remember seeing Slayer live, for instance, when I was young, man, Dave Lombardo, dude, that guy is fucking insane, man. But like, just watching them play it and listening to it and feeling it, and just like fuck, man, how the fuck do you do that for a whole set, man? It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Slayer, because it's like their sets are long. You know, they'd play for over an hour. You know, easy.
Yeah.
And and honestly, like it's the kind of thing where like a death metal drummer might be like, oh yeah, like Slayer's no problem, I can play that stuff, and then they sit down and like say you had them do a whole set of their stuff, they'd be gassed by 15 minutes in or whatever. Like shit's no joke, you know.
Yeah, all those fills, man, that he does.
hmm And with power, a lot of power. So hats off to Dave.
Hell yeah, man. So tell us, what kind of stuff are you listening to nowadays, man?
A lot more like jazz fusion and just like jazz proper. I've gotten into Alan Holdsworth big time over the last couple years, and like John Coltrane, Miles Davis, guys like that. A little bit of Ornette Coleman in there for if I want to get really out there. But yeah, I've tried to kind of broaden my horizons musically speaking. I actually listened to a bit of just early 2000s, like alt rock and shit, like stuff that I kind of grew up hearing a lot on the radio and stuff. Cause that's what was big at the time. It was on all the video games I was playing and stuff. So it's kind of like a nostalgic thing for me, but I still really like Chevelle and, stuff like that. So, other than that, man, I mean, it is kind of the usual. Like I listen to, Disgorge and Deeds of Flesh at the gym. And actually, one band I've been jamming a bunch, my buddy Cody, Putrid Stew, shout out to him, was jamming Putrid Stew all day at the gym. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the usual suspects, Death. I love Disincarnate. That's one that's kind of slept on, unfortunately, but James Murphy absolutely killed it with that band. And
Oh hell yeah.
yeah, I mean, Nithing, shout out to my boy Matt Kilner with Nithing or Nithing, I guess. I don't know. I say it Nithing. But yeah, man, I'm still into the same kind of stuff I've always been into, but also trying to get into more other stuff, basically. Broaden the horizons musically speaking.
Definitely, man, definitely. Speaking of shout outs, man, I got to give a shout out to Season of Mist for hooking us up with the interview, man. Those guys are cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us like what's the experience been so far working with those guys?
Oh, incredible. They're super, super professional and on top of everything. Like just it's been a breeze, honestly, working with them. Like I run the Instagram and Jamie helps me out with the Facebook here and there, but I'm largely responsible for the social media posts for the Brodequin pages. So like they've been really helpful with kind of giving me guidelines and everything, ways that they find are best to post and to promote everything. And yeah, they've just been super helpful already. Like I can't even imagine trying to do this without their help at this point. It's a really big deal, this album coming out after 20 years. And I think that they're exactly who we need to be working with. They're great. So
Hell yeah, man.
Can't say enough good about them, basically.
Hell yeah. Well, I was also going to ask you about social media and stuff like that for
Mhm.
fans, that are wanting to get into you guys and want to talk to you.
Mhm.
What's the best platform for them to reach out to you? Like, you guys are pretty active on it, or YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Instagram is probably the best. It's the Instagram name is Brodequin TN for Tennessee on that. Of course, people can always find us on Facebook too. We've started a YouTube channel, Instruments of Torture. We're gonna do a bunch of like in-depth kind of like behind the song, like behind the meaning of the song videos, like little reels to kind of add to the lore and everything. So I would check that out too if you're a real avid Brodequin fan. But yeah, I'd say the easiest way to get a hold of us is Instagram for sure.
Hell yeah. And so the band is Tennessee based.
Yeah.
You're in Texas though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I live in Dallas. So when we get together, they just, fly me out to Knoxville and I stay at Jamie's and we jam, and it's awesome. Mike's only like an hour away, so we can get together real easy. And yeah, that's how we've been doing it. For the most part, we work remotely, though, because I use Reaper, and I've gotten Mike to start using Reaper, so we just send each other project files and audio files that we just kind of practice remotely too. And then so when we get together, it sounds like we've been jamming, every day kind of thing. So
hell yeah, man. Knoxville is a badass fucking city too, man. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of there.
Oh yeah, I really like it up there, man. I actually have thought about moving.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I live in Jackson, Tennessee, so but
oh cool.
It's like a what do you call it? A hub city in between Nashville and Memphis. But every now and then we do go out to Knoxville because I got a lot of friends out there too, man. And yeah,
cool.
There's a really cool scene out that way, man.
So actually, I'm going to be up there again February 8th through the 11th. So if you're available and you want to kick it, we can definitely do it.
Fuck yeah!
Just shoot me a message, man.
Hell yeah! Are you guys going to be playing a show or anything, or?
Nah, we're just jamming. It's been since before CDF last July that we jammed. So it's been a hot minute. So we need to get the ball rolling again on like jamming, getting a new set list together for Maryland Death Fest coming up in May. That's our next show.
Fuck yeah!
We do have a couple other shows kind of in the works right now that we've confirmed. They just haven't been announced yet, but. Yeah, we're just getting ready for everything that's going to come with the album coming out, getting the new set list together and everything. So
sweet, man. Well, yeah, I was gonna ask you about any live dates or anything like that you guys had that you if there was anything you could announce, but
yeah, the only thing so far that I guess I can really talk about is Maryland Death Fest. We're playing Friday at the Baltimore Soundstage. I've heard nothing but great things about that venue and the fest itself, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a super, metal party all weekend.
Yeah, hell yeah, man, hell yeah. I lived in Maryland for a little while when I was in middle school, man, and they have a really cool metal scene there too. Like that's actually how I got into. Or that's how I think that's one of my main influences for radio, to get into radio, was from there.
Oh, cool.
They had a radio station there called The Underground. It was like a local college station that became an FM station. And
very cool.
They would play all kinds of stuff. I mean, like everything from King Diamond to Exodus to like Metallica B-sides and stuff. Like this is way back in the early 90s or late 80s, man, like when there was no internet, so you couldn't find anything any other way, but having an outlet like that, it was really cool. And yeah, it always felt like there was just a really cool scene there. I was just too young to really enjoy it to the full.
Oh yeah, I get that. That kind of reminds me of the Cannibal Corpse story, how I'm sure if you've seen the Centuries of Torment DVD, you know what I'm talking about, the guy was like playing them on the radio station there and everything, and he like announced them coming on stage at I think it was the first show they played. That's really cool, man. I gotta watch that DVD again at some point. It's like a regular watch for me.
Oh yeah, I love Cannibal Corpse, man, and their new record is fucking killer too, man. Like they never disappoint, man.
No, they never let up. I mean, Eric Rutan being in the band now is kind of crazy. After he's produced, several of their best sounding albums, and now he's like in the band. I think that's super cool for him.
Yeah. I've seen him with Hate Eternal too back in the day. Man.
Oh yeah,
that was cool too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw them. I saw Hate Eternal at Tomcats in Fort Worth with Hannes Grossman on drums, and that was fucking insane. That band is like a testament to willpower and what it can fucking bring. It's just like unrelenting. I mean, that style of just like impenetrable fucking chaos is so awesome. I think it's something that's like kind of missing from a lot of death metal nowadays, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I really love Hate Eternal too. That's another regular listen I forgot to mention earlier. I love Conquering the Throne and King of All Kings. Those are probably my two favorites. But the last two have been incredible. Or he's been putting out incredible albums still. So it's like great track record, incredible drummers all the way through. Yeah, super inspiring.
Hell yeah! Well, you guys are part of, like, I would say, like, what's in the new wave of death metal. I guess you could consider that. I mean, I don't know. The band's been around a long time, but you guys kind of been on hiatus for a while, so you're now coming back. But yeah, man, I don't know. I see nothing but good things coming for you guys, especially with this record, man.
Oh yeah, we're real stoked to see what the future brings. I mean, Maryland Death Fest is just the beginning. We're looking to play some overseas festivals and everything. Like, I know a lot of people have been asking for us in Europe, so hopefully we can get some Asian dates going on. That would be really cool. I would love to play Japan. That would be really, really cool. I mean, hey, if anybody's listening that, books tours, like, please hit us up. We haven't had a legit tour offer, like, since I've been in the band. So let's get something going, please,
Oh, hell yeah, man. Yeah. I know a few, man, so I'm pretty sure they'll probably hear this, man. So
yeah,
maybe
that'd be awesome.
You guys up soon, man. That would be cool. All right, well, I guess I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Just be on the lookout for Harbinger of Woe, March 22nd on Season of Mist. There will be 2 more singles releasing before then as well, so keep your eyes peeled.
You know what? I also wanted to ask about the artwork, man. There's really cool artwork, and the merch and everything looks killer, man. Who did the artwork for that?
So, man, I saw someone actually list the exact artist and name of it somewhere. I can't remember who, though. It's a really good question, man. I'd love to know, just so if anyone asks. But, yeah, no, Jamie is really incredible with picking out really awesome classical art pieces that kind of combine the Renaissance, like, beauty with that, like, medieval brutality, that just contrasts. I think that's what's so great about the album cover is it has a bit of, like, lighting, some light to it, to where you kind of see, and then, like, obviously the lady and everything. So there's, like, elements of, I guess, purity or beauty in there, but then there's also, like, torture. So it's a nice contrast, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it sounds.
Right. That's what we try to do, man. Have a really concise image for the sound,
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. All right, well, before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
All right, whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Brodequin, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
All right, this is Brodequin, and you're listening to, you know what, let me try that again. This is Brennan from Brodequin. You are listening to Metal Devastation Radio. There we go.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast more Brodequin for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
All right. Thanks so much for having me, man. Cheers.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Cheers, brother.
All right. Take care.
There you have it, folks. Brodequin live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking Radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway. Do whatever the fuck you got to do. Put your speakers everywhere so everybody around you can go insane. And if you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, like I'm seeing right now on my street, you ain't cranking it up loud enough, man. No, seriously, dude. Crank this shit up loud as a fuck. It's fucking death metal, man.